something structural has shifted, something driving the sexlessness epidemic, the gender wars, the ideological chasm now splitting young men and women into opposite political tribes, the collapse in fertility that mathematically ends a society. We built a new mating system, but we didn't realize what it would cost. So these are, I think more and more people are going to agree with what Josh is saying here. Of course, they're not going to go as far as I'd like them to go to actually begin to force rank values and understand that the obsession around individual self-expression, individual freedom doesn't always have to be more important than life of committed love and marriage. But I think that they are going to begin to realize that this is the root of the problem, that all of these supposed freedoms brought with them enormous costs and a new kind of slavery. In the United States, the share of young adults aged 18 to 29 reporting no sex in the past year doubled between 2010 and 2024 from 12 to 24%. The increase was driven by men. At the 2018 peak, 20% of men under 30 reported no sex in the past year compared to 18% of women. On dating apps, women's average mate rate is 31%, men's is 2.6%, a 12-fold difference. This is the new bizarre way that when you have a polygamous society, high status men get all of the mating opportunities, these temporary mating opportunities. Children are totally left out or abandoned or not brought into families. Fertility just crashes. I mean, think about what he's saying here. On dating apps, women's average match rate is 31%, men is 2.6%. 2.6%, a 12-fold difference. The most desirable men receiving overwhelming attention while the majority receive almost nothing. In South Korea, the 4B movement, no dating, no sex, no marriage, no childbirth, has contributed to the lowest fertility rate ever recorded, 0.72 children per woman. Deaths outnumber births. In Japan, 40% of never married adults ages 18 to 34 have never had sex. The population is projected to fall from 124 million to 87 million by 2070. These whole civilizations are going to collapse. If you're older than 45, you likely live in a world where people still got married. The figures above may feel like dispatches from another planet. They're not. They're dispatches from the other half of your own country. Among women born in 1980, 71% of college graduates were married by 45. Among those without degrees, it was only 52%. Marriage has become a luxury good, and all groups are converging toward the same destination: below replacement fertility. He then goes on to talk about the delay that destroys fertility, a lot of these things. But I think the thing that I really wanted to emphasize and just kind of like signal is that we need to be framing this as a cultural battle between polygamy and monogamy and trying to destigmatize divorce, destigmatize sex before marriage, destigmatize the default decision towards family planning and ubiquitous contraception, having as small families as you can in order to keep your lifestyle as maximally self-centered as possible. These decisions that are considered completely morally positive now by our culture are going to lead to rampant polygamy by high status men, and it's going to destroy and unmake so many different cultures. And you guys, when Jesus says, we are the salt of the earth, we are the light of the world, he's saying the way that, and this is how Christians remade a polygamous culture in the first and second century within the Roman world. We began to see that as they lived out a different kind of lifestyle in front of a world that was so wrought with these kinds of ideas about sex and marriage, they were able to demonstrate a very, very different kind of lifestyle, one that leads to flourishing. And we're going to get that opportunity again, but we're going to have to get really honest about what we call these things. Polygamy is back. It is being emphasized, and it is being actually, instead of being stigmatized, it's being celebrated, and it will be celebrated increasingly in the future, particularly by high status men and by women who are deeply deceived about the nature of femininity. And we're going to need to live out a contrasting worldview in front of a world that is going to be increasingly unraveling around us.